everybody, welcome to Red Tool House. On our YouTube channel, we talk about all things homesteading and try to implement some of those things on our rural 100 acres here in southern West Virginia. Well, today I'm standing in the barn, in the mud pit actually. This is a portion of our barn that we're obviously trying to finish. And this is our corral portion. And this corral, there's unfortunately, when I built the barn, I knew there was a spring back here. I thought I could take care of it. It just keeps cranking out the water, and this time of year it gets really bad. It's been really bad with the amount of rain we've had. So you can see there's a lot of mud. When I walk through here, I'm sinking up to my axles basically in mud. It makes it a little tough to do anything, to navigate pigs, to move around basically. So as they fall in the mud. So as our plan is to roof in this portion of the barn and extend the barn the way that it is now. So we want to get it roofed in, have the loft, extend the loft. So this would all be undercover at some point. So I'm hoping that would dry out and allow me to compact this, get it a little bit more rigid, and hopefully push that spring that way instead of coming this way. So the first thing, of course, we have to do is build. We have to, first thing we have to do is mill to get our wood. Well, this is by no means a flattering camera angle. You can see here, let's turn this way so we can get the aperture to adjust. You can see here, this is the floor of the loft. All of this lumber was milled off of our property. We took it over to my brother's mill before I got mine, obviously, and milled all this. So everything you see has been milled by the sawmill at his place. And we've got 2x8s on 16s, I believe. And we're going to just continue that. So if you see here, as we spin over here into the sunlight, we can see that opening there. So that's where we're going to start closing in and reinforcing that. In fact, that board you see way over here, that board here, this board right here, is just a nailer. It's not even, it's just keeping the poles from swinging back and forth. So we'll have to finish out our joists there and really shore that up. And then of course we'll start putting flooring down. So that's our game plan, is to start milling dimensional lumber. And we're going to use pine. We've got some Virginia pine that we want to cut. That's actually just right here behind the barn in an area of pasture that we want to clear out. Get some of that pine down. So we're going to drop a pine tree and we'll start milling. Okay, so the plan is we're going to use this Virginia pine right here, which, I don't know if my big head's blocking that, but you can see this green beech that hasn't changed its colors of the leaves yet. That Virginia pine's kind of nestled up against it. So if it falls and takes out that beech, whew, I'll be tickled to death. So we're gonna drop it that way and get the tractor, skid the logs down, and get milling. The mill is right behind the camera actually, so we're not having too far to go. Now I know what you're thinking, because I'm thinking it too. You're thinking, Troy, your tractor looks extra sexy today. And yes, you're right, it does. We used it in a church function last week, so I had to clean it and wash it. I pressure sprayed it. It's the cleanest it's been in years, so looks really good. Although you can see where, when I had it on the trailer to pressure spray it, I couldn't get to one portion of the tire. So that's why we got a little bit of a dirty tire there, but that's the cleanest that tractor's been in forever. All right, so let's get up to the tree. You guys like to make fun of me panting all the time. I would say it's because I have a really good microphone. Picks all that up. It would be a bit of a lie. May have something to do with the 20 or 30 extra pounds I have around my waist. And that's not equipment either. Okay. So we got this little scruffy beech I need to get out of the way first. So, not let it be said that I don't make mistakes when cutting trees, because I made a big mistake. I cut, let me turn my chest camera on here. I cut through my wedge too deeply on this side. And when I did my plunge cut, you can see my blade got over there, so I took out too much hinge, and now this tree is actually starting to fall. It's actually leaning a little bit, the thickness of my bar. My bar's actually holding it. That's why it's wedged in there so good. So the issue now becomes to extract it. So we're going to try to zip it out here. And it's not going to fall where I want it to now, which concerns me. But such is life, right? All right. Hopefully I'm not videoing my own demise. If you guys are seeing this, I'm still alive because I'm the only guy that knows how to edit. Lord, here we go. Here she goes. No. No. Yep, that cost me a chainsaw. I just told myself, and I actually told Cameron, that I was going to take that engine off of there, and I forgot to do that. And it just cost me an engine. Yeah, well, I think the engine's still good, but there goes the handle. Well, this is what we call one of those ID10T errors again here on the Homestead. So what happened as that tree broke away, it rolled, and I knew it was going to do that, and it crushed my saw, my new one. So I've got a busted handle, which, you know, the handle and the trigger guard, not that big a deal there. That's be a cheap part to replace, but then it cracked the actual support of the handle, so that's busted. And that's the whole foot, that's the whole chassis of the chainsaw, the way Stihl makes those now. So that's going to have to be replaced, and that's going to hurt. But I think, see, I can tape this back together, get my trigger working again, because the spring guard and everything are all still intact. And we can just wrap some tape around that, duct tape or electrical tape or Gorilla tape, anything like that. And I actually had that issue happen a long time ago on my old saw. And I bolted an old angle bracket to it, and it worked for a while, and then of course the thing kept sliding out from underneath it, because you need that for that leverage. So that's the issue there. So we'll have to order that, get that replaced. Again, that's the whole sneaking chassis, so I'm sure Stihl's really proud of that. But that's one of those deals where I even told Cam, because Cam was operating the camera, we were driving back down with the other saw. I said, no, I need to take a tool and take a motor off that and just leave the bar, because a $50 bar is easier to replace than the whole motor. And walked up on the hill, made that cut, and I was thinking about the video, thinking about, am I going to video my own demise, or should I video this, or how should I video that? And didn't even think to grab that tool. And as soon as that thing started to fall, I'm like, hey, dummy, the motor's still on there. So, my bad. We'll try a little Appalachian engineering here with some electrical tape. Okay, before we mummify this thing anymore in electrical tape, let's see if the thing will even run. Yep, it'll run, but I think I got a bent bar. Yeah, we have just done a great job today, haven't we? All right, so the saga continues. So what happened is as the tree fell, of course, it twisted on my bar, and it's amazing the weight. And you can barely even see it by the eye, so I'm sure the camera's not going to pick it up. But obviously there's a track. You can see my glorious fingernail running through that. The track is where that chain rides. So there's the sprocket teeth of the chain. This bottom portion there, of course, is supposed to ride in that. Well, it pinched it down in this one little spot. There's about 2 inches of spot where that was pinched down. And what we're doing right now is NASCAR fixing, definitely. This is like race day, and we need to get back in the race. So I do not recommend this at all. And I will be replacing this bar toot sweet. There's actually a little burn spot there where my chain just ran through and tried to burn. So I'm going to just try to spread that back out a little bit. Again, some Appalachian engineering here. I'll give it a try. There we go. All right. So I've opened the gap back up. It was on the top portion here. Let's just make sure everything fits in there the way it's supposed to. So there. All the teeth are now riding. I've obviously weakened that metal a little bit. Not a huge issue, but why take the risk, right? That's what he said before he cut the tree down and left the engine on it. Yeah, why take the risk? Idiot. All right, so we'll just see if my Appalachian engineering did enough work here to get us back in the game and get us sawing, because I've got a log laying across my electric fence. It fell where I didn't want it to, since I couldn't steer it. So it's laying across the electric fence, it's blocking my road, there's pigs everywhere. It's a real nightmare. I love homesteading. Alright, so let's try one more time and make sure she spins freely. Nothing's free around here. That's gonna work. Don't believe it, man. It's actually going to work. Electrical tape. Homestead favorite. Haircut. Much overdue. For those of you keeping score, talking about haircut, usually that's Kelly's birthday present, is a haircut, and her birthday's coming up in a couple weeks, so I gotta get that figured out. As you can tell, I hate getting my hair cut. Okay, so tree's down across my fence. Doesn't look like it took out any posts, but it definitely bounced pretty good. Pushed the electric fence down, so it's not broken. So it's laid on the electric fence. No big deal here. Matilda's kind of checking it out, but I don't think anybody's going to go anywhere. So we're going to get this out of the way and mill what we've got on the ground. Try to, without breaking anything. So we got our treetop cut up, put on the pile, got the log drug out of off the hillside here in front of the mill, and we're going to measure and of course cut the logs to the length we need, cut the nubs off, do all that. You know, this is great. You look back on this project and say, cost us a $400 chainsaw to save maybe what, 80 bucks in dimensional lumber. Such is life on the homestead, right? So we're going to move on to the next step. I'm going to call this part one right here. to keep from making this a huge video. So the very next video will be us finishing this up. I don't know if you all have noticed or not, but we're doing a Tuesday and Friday video now. I think that's the routine we can get into and kind of commit to. So instead of 3 videos a week, and instead of 1 video a week, we're going to do somewhere in the middle there, do 2 videos a week. So Tuesday and Friday is what we're shooting for. And again, it all depends on the weather, daylight savings time, all that. I want to be outside doing videos, so if it's dark or rainy, I'm not going to be out there. But call this part 1, move on to part 2.